The real danger we have is not the debt limit. The real danger we have is the extraordinary, surging debt that this nation has, and it's unlike anything we've ever had before. It's systemic. It's part of the structure of the American economy right now, that we're spending 42% more than we take in. You cannot keep doing that. And the projections for the future are not better. So it's a very dangerous, dangerous trend, and we've got to get off of it. So we had a talk about that in the last election. The American people were engaged in that. They weren't happy with their Congress. They didn't think Congress was managing their affairs very well. They felt they weren't listening to them when they were asking questions about, how can you keep doing this? You're making our grandchildren, putting them in the poorhouse. You're risking the economy of the United States. All you want to do is spend money, buy votes, and say you're spreading the wealth around, and this is going to make things better. So we had an election, and it was a shellacking for the big spenders. Wasn't that what it was all about? Was there a single candidate that I know of that won last time, at least a new candidate that got elected for the first time, that didn't talk about the need to constrain spending in Washington? That was a theme throughout the election. That was the meaning of the election. So now my colleagues, we can't, you want to cut spending? They've got these extremists in the House. They don't want to play ball. They hadn't served in the Congress long enough. They don't know better. They think we can actually cut spending. Of course we can't cut spending. That's not the way you do it. Do you know, colleagues, that in the last 2 years, when the Democratic majority in this Senate was 60 votes, that spending for non-defense discretionary spending, not counting the stimulus, just the basic budgetary spending on all our accounts, non-war, non-defense, non-Social Security, went up 24%. At a time we were running the biggest deficits in history. 24% increases, and we can't cut spending? I'm offended, frankly, by the suggestion that the people in the House who swept out a lot of the buddies of the big spenders in the Senate, a lot of the big spenders in the House are back home because they were held to account finally, many of them after many years in the Congress. They were voted out of office. So the people that beat them are extremists, you see. That's what they like to say. They won't negotiate. They won't deal. They're irresponsible. They actually think they can come up here and change the trajectory of debt in this country. So they passed a budget in the House of Representatives. Brilliant, fine, young Congressman Paul Ryan, the chairman of the Budget Committee in the House, the Republican majority in the House, and they passed a budget that cut spending $5 trillion. And it would change the debt trajectory of America. It didn't quite balance even at 10 years. I would like to have seen it, but we're in such a hole, it is hard to get out. But it would have made a big change in where we were going, put us on the right path. Senator Reid called it up, mocked it, had his members all vote against it. So we said, what about your budget, Mr. Reid? Well, we don't have one. Well, what about your budget? You've got the majority in the Senate. You can pass a budget with just 50 votes. Why don't you pass a budget? It's foolish to pass a budget, he said. Foolish to pass a budget. At a time when this country has never, ever, ever been in a more serious financial condition than we are today. So they say those guys over there and the new women that were elected, they're not reasonable enough. They won't work with us. Well, let me tell you, they proposed a $6 trillion reduction. Even that didn't balance in 10 years but it sure was a big step forward. You know what they've done now? The House passed a bill at the insistence of the Senate and the President to try to pass a bill, and they passed it, that would raise the debt ceiling and cut spending only $1 trillion. Is that an extremist thing to do? And they sent it over here. Much of it's very similar to what Senator Reid has proposed. And they called it up within minutes and tabled it, without debate, without discussion. And then they continue to say, as if nothing happened, that these are extremists over here. And they won't listen to reason. And these Tea Party people are not good for America. But I'm going to tell you one thing. The Tea Party people understand an important fact. This Congress is spending too much money. They are exactly correct in that regard. No member of the United States Congress can with clear conscience look their constituents in the eye and say we have managed their money wisely. That we're in such a shape we can't even see when we will balance the budget because we've mismanaged their economy so badly. And the only idea that anybody seems to have around here is spend more money and stimulate the economy. And if you spend more money, where does it come from? It's borrowed because we're already in debt. And every new dime we spend is borrowed. There's only one way to move out of this, and that's to reduce spending. It just is. And the American people understand that.